My name's Isaac, better known as Izzy the Bricky. This week I went back to the mansion build to smash up some more of my work. I also built a bow window for the first time, and I spoke about gaining confidence as a bricklayer. You guys are watching the next instalment of Izzy the Bricky Weekly. New week, new haircut, but still no drill. Monday morning and we are back on the new big extension. Today we're going to be mixing up a good few tons of ballast. Below our DPC level, we've used concrete blocks on the internal skin. We've got a 100mm cavity, and then we have our external blockwork and face brickwork. This has left us with quite a large air gap where the cavity now is. So what we're doing, we're filling that with concrete 225mm lower than our beam level. This just ensures that everything is concreted together and it's a nice solid unit below ground. It's also quite good practice and it's an NHBC standard. So we have quite a busy day mixing a load of concrete, filling the cavity, and then we're going to angle the concrete at a 45-degree angle facing the brickwork, and this ensures that any moisture that does get in, the remainder of that airspace and the cavity slopes towards the face brickwork and slowly exits the building. Sorted. All done. Where's my shovel? Finished off concreting this long side here. We've been putting a slight angle on the concrete just like that, so any moisture that does come into the cavity goes towards the external wall. I think in total I did about 22 mixers. Anyway, right now we are going to set out our wet course. All this is one course of block that goes around the entire perimeter. All this allows us to do is put our DPM up and onto that one course of block, and it creates a totally tanked system so no moisture can come up. So I'll show you that later on in the build. Right now we're going to get some blocks down. While doing all of my external brickwork, I decided to throw ties out at our top of beam level. If I didn't do this, we would have had way over 450mm worth of masonry without ties. So I figured if I throw them out at our top of beam level, it will just secure our wet course to our external brickwork. Now, a lot of the masonry below this has just been concreted. So in theory, that's a tie in itself. The more ties, the merrier. Tomorrow, I'm heading to the mansion build to wrap up a few things, since there isn't too much for me to do here until all of my squint bricks are made, and they should be ready by Wednesday. Tuesday morning, and we are back on the mansion build. I'm going to give you a little tour around and see what's been done since I was last here. It looks like the lads have been proper busy here. They finished off the big wall downstairs, what Drew was meant to finish. They did a load of internal work, and where we had a timber floor previously, they pulled all of that up because the floor joists and the floorboards were all rotten, and they've stoned that up, those 20 ton of stone in there, and they have started work on the back. So today I'm going to finish off, I imagine, all of these windows, finish off this window here, and a few more bits and bobs before we head over and hopefully go see our squint bricks getting made. So look. Oh, that looks mint, that does. Yeah. So oh, it cuts cuts full depth as well. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, that is. You just keep going on. Well, you know, like with all the alterations being made, if you can use something to speed you up like that, rather than a grinder or a steel saw. 1200 for that? Yeah. The work you've just seen me doing, I've moved a door over. Now, those who've been watching my videos for a while, Christmas time, I already moved this door while I was building this back of the arse. I've just had a phone call regarding this door. So initially on the drawings, I'll throw it up now, the door was meant to be over there. I was told to put it here. And I've just had another phone call to say want it slightly smaller now. So it's 1500 at the moment. They want the opening to be 1 metre now. So like I said, these things always kind of happen on extensions. Things are constantly changing, drawings always changing. You just kind of got to work with the cards you're dealt sometimes, but it doesn't matter. Solutions, no problems. We'll get it toothed out and then we'll crack on. Twice, maybe 3 times I moved it. It was 1500, then 1 metre, then 900, then I had to shift it over, and we've finally moved it for hopefully the last time. Behind me, the foreman is raking out all of the lintels for the rest of the windows. They're all getting moved over, so there's going to be a lot of grinding out and a lot of toothing out today. Hopefully all these alterations will be the last. Well, as you can see behind me, pure chaos. Not too much filming going on today just because I have so much to do and very little time to do it. I've just had a phone call from the person cutting all of our squint bricks. He needed 8 more blues and 8 more Xandras or whatever they are. So I've just quickly dropped them off for him. And then we're going to hopefully pick some of them up tomorrow and get him paid up. But yeah, not too much filming going on because I'm just busy, and yeah, just need to get stuck in, destroying my work. Wednesday morning, and we have got all of our cut bricks in the back of the van. It took about an hour and a half to get to the job because I drove very slowly, and I had a very heavy van. Right now we're going to get all of these around the back, and then we're going to start building up the bay. It was a bit of a trek around there, so I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Right, here we go. It is 11:15, We've got all the squints round. We've organised the entire job just so everything is in a certain order. Loaded out, got a mix on, got a mix out. So right now we're going to blast, well I say blast, we're going to get this bay window in and see how we get going. Lots to do, not much time to do it. So let's crack on. Just gone 1:30. What I'm doing, I'm bringing around the entire bow window 15 quarters at a time, and as you can see behind me I have all my squint bricks labelled and organised, so the left hand side and the right hand side are all where they need to be. Every time I put a course on I either use A1 or A2, and that's how I'm working it, so everything's nice and organised. So yeah, going alright, pretty time consuming, lots of level work, but yeah, we're getting there and it looks pretty tidy. Each section of the bow window has a certain angle, so you can see this was section A, and I've got A1 here, A2 there, and we're just working our way round. So at the moment I'm about to lay D1, which is these bricks here. D1 is at the bottom, and if I lay it correctly it should marry up perfectly. Right then, there we go, it's just gone 4 o'clock. Been pointing up, but all the blues and reds are still absolutely soaking, so I'm going to cover everything up with some DPM. That'll make sure it's still wet enough for me to point tomorrow morning. Overall, it's not been too bad of a day, for saying I started at 10:30 or 11:30, I forgot what it was now. Yeah, not too bad at all, so I'll finish off the rest of the bow window tomorrow, and then I'll get mixing up some concrete. But yeah, overall, pretty decent day. Not many gloves you can do that with. Ten to 9, and we are fully set out for today. This morning I spent some time cleaning up all of these blues, just going over any missed bits of pointing because they were a bit wet yesterday. Today's job list: we're going to finish off this bow window, then we're going to hop back up onto the block and beam floor and I've got another 2 ton of concrete to mix up. So it's going to be quite a busy day once again on my own. But luckily for me, it's my last day before I go on holiday for a week. So there may not be a video next week, by the way. There we go. So we have finally finished up building our bow window up to the finished floor level on the job, which now means that the entire job is up to our DPC level, or our finished floor level. Building the bow window, all I did, I just found my data marks, which were these angles, and then I just plumbed from there all the way up. So I know I set it out correctly in those first 2 courses. A little bit of background on this, if you guys didn't watch the last video, I found all the angles using the template on the job and then took all the bricks to go get made. So when I picked up the bricks a few days ago, I must admit we spent 400 quid on all the swim bricks, and I was a little bit nervous because I've never made my own swim bricks before. So I was a bit anxious to see how they would actually work out, but luckily everything went really well. There was loads of level work in doing a bow window. Something you need to look out for, your squint bricks, often when they're glued together, they're not perfectly level. They're kind of glued sometimes at an angle, so that can throw you off your level as you come round. So I've actually never built a bay window, a bow window, and I have very, very rarely ever laid squint bricks. When I did my apprenticeship and when I came out of my apprenticeship, I was in a gang of bricklayers, and me and the boss were the money chasers, and we had another bricklayer who did all the detail work like this. So I've actually never built a bay window in my entire life, and a little fun fact, I've actually turned down jobs and extensions recently because they had bay windows in and I didn't know how to do them. I knew this job had a bay window, and I just figured I can't keep shying away from building things I've never built before. Otherwise, how do you learn and how do you gain confidence? So yeah, tackled this and it went all right. 20 apprentices, improvers, or even bricklayers out there, if you lack confidence on certain aspects of the job, just do it. And if it goes wrong, don't worry about it too much. It's only brickwork, you can take it down and redo it. It might cost you a little bit of money, or it could work out, and then you've learned something new and you've gained that experience and more confidence that you can take forward onto other jobs, and it just makes you a better bricklayer all round. So yeah, don't shy away from things what you're not used to. Up there, we're going to wrestle that mixer up onto the floor and carry on doing all our concreting what we started Monday down this long wall. So lots of work to do before we break up for our holiday. Tuesday morning and we are back on the job. I've just come back from a 10-day holiday up in the Lake District. Plenty of drinking and plenty of hikes. I would highly recommend it. Since I've been gone, the client has loaded out the job with block work. I've got the scaffolders coming today. That's been organised. We've got a scaffolding going around the entire job as the ground level is so low. So I've got the scaffolders coming today. While I was on holiday, I also spoke to Drew. I don't think he's going to be back for a little while. I've got someone in coming to replace him for the time being. Today I'm finishing off the rest of the concreting around the bay window, and then I'm going to be setting out the rest of our wet courses, which is going to be on this long side here and around the bay window. And then hopefully finally I'll start some block work before the scaffolders get here. Oh, that's heavy. Finished off all of the concreting. Right now I'm going to finish off the block work on the block and beam floor around the bay window. Got lots of cuts to do and lots of little pieces to put in, just so that when we come round with our 4 courses of block work up to 900 for the bay window, it's got a solid footing to land on. So we need to sort that out and then start all of our wet courses. So we are all set, ready to start our block work. Over there, I have marked up our steel post. I'm using that as a profile. You can see here how I've left out my DPC. This is because we're doing our floor prep after the build. What will happen, our DPM will get taped to our DPC, which I'm building in right now, and that will make sure that the entire floor is totally watertight and it's a fully tanked system. Right, there we go. That is where we're leaving it for today. Started laying this wall at 1 o'clock. We've got 5 courses on, 22 in a course. So yeah, mixing up on my own and things like that. The scaffolders ended up getting delayed. I'm going to try and organise a different scaffolder. We're going to be loading out about 1,000 odd bricks down this alleyway here to the expansion joint, so we can blast this brickwork and blockwork up to height before we kill all of our access. Anyway, on that note, I will catch you tomorrow morning. Wednesday morning. The scaffolders never turned up yesterday. Turns out they enjoyed their bank holiday weekend a bit too much, and 3 of them didn't turn in. But that's scaffolders for you. Today I'm going to be wrapping up this blockwork, probably sending it to 9 courses high. Then we're going to be hopping over to back it in. The client has already loaded out about 600, maybe 700 bricks down this alleyway. So we're going to blast that in up to our expansion joint later on. I'm going to throw some mixers on and get warmed up because it's raining. Plenty of mixers out. I think 3 mixers we've done, just working on sending the rest of this block work up like I mentioned earlier. Those who are wondering how we are tying in our block work into our steel frame, we're using self-tapping screws, and I fashioned some very strong L brackets. They're actually slip ties, and I've gone over them with the grinder to create some sort of a fish hook. So that should be grabbing into that mortar really securely. Right, we have finally got ourselves set up. We're finished tidying the back side of this wall, or the face side. Finished tidying the internal blockwork. We've also propped it because we do learn from our mistakes what happened at the mansion build. I'm gonna finally start laying some of these absolutely lovely facing bricks. So no time to waste, we're just going to get stuck in. I need to bear in mind that we do have an expansion joint, but it's about 50 bricks down there. So we'll get to that when we get to it. So far, we have got on 3 courses, so 150 bricks down, but it's pretty well set up. The client loaded out last night, so plenty of bricks down here. I'm going to point up now. While I'm pointing up, I'm going to throw about 3 mixers on. These bricks pretty much eat compo anyway, so we are all good. Thursday morning and we are back. As you've just seen, I have got set out massively here. We have got 4 mixers on these spots in total and we have another 3 in the mixer. So we're going to be focusing down this alleyway. We've still got another 550 odd bricks to get down here. So hopefully that should keep us busy for this morning. Next week on Thursday, I won't be at work. I'm heading down to London. I'm actually not sure if I'm meant to be telling you guys this. So I can't give too much away, but I can give a little sneak preview right now.
It's 1 on top of 2 wherever you go. So put down the hoard, clean off the trowel and grab a brew, because Izzy the Bricky's on site from Fix Radio. We're dropping knowledge, hints, tips and big name guests from the trade. Just hopefully not the bricks. This is the Bricklaying Show from Fix Radio.
Now, yesterday you may have noticed me using a different bricklaying technique known as pick and dip. This way you pop your mortar down like that and then you drag your perp joint and it's all one solid motion. There's no furrowing of the bed and there's no perping your brick per se. It's all done in this one scooping action. Now, when it comes to laying different bricks on different jobs, they sometimes require different techniques. These bricks here are really dry, okay? And they're quite dusty. As soon as you put your bed joint down, your mortar is going off. This is why methods such as pick and dip are quite handy, because there is no wait time on playing with your bed. That's important for apprentices and improvers to bear this in mind. When you're laying different bricks, different techniques are used or required. So now I'm just spreading for one and laying one. Just something to think about really when you're an apprentice or an improver. Different bricks requiring different wait times for the bed joint going off. If these were blue bricks, for example, I'd spread the entire course and then I'd go along laying them. But you can't do that in all cases. You may have heard me mention yesterday an expansion joint on this long run of brickwork. For those who don't know, an expansion joint is a break in the brickwork. When we have big runs of brickwork on new builds, on extensions, and even on big garden walls, we put this expansion joint in and it allows movement off the brickwork. Now, I'm not saying that brickwork moves very often, but if you have a look at some really old brickwork walls, you'll see that there is cracks all the way down, especially if they don't have pillars in. We have these collars, the plastic collars which are built into the brickwork, and then once that's built in, we attach these metal slips which slot into the collars really nicely. If there was going to be any movement on a wall with an expansion joint, now we've put a prevention in so movement can happen if it ever was to. 4:15 and we are finally done for the day. This pointing took a lot longer than I thought. So I've just spent a good hour or so pointing up this wall, cleaning down this alleyway, and now we are all set for scaffold. I've been discussing with the client how I'm going to tackle the brickwork down that dead tight alleyway. What I suggested is, rather than me build overhand, you do not want to see me build an overhand, I'm going to have my bricks loaded out on the back of the wall, elevated, and I'm going to work down the alleyway and hopefully that'll work. Anyway, catch you tomorrow morning because I've got a long drive home. What, you calling this a nice cosy spot for me? Yeah, it's a brilliant spot this. No, not doing too bad, just getting there. Getting there. Well, there's no point moaning about it, I'm down here now. So this is the tightest way I've decided to work. When it's been tighter, I've just done it overhand. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if this was facing another house and it was dead tight up and no one would ever see it, I'd build it overhand and I'd say to you, I am not bothered. But obviously it's facing your neighbour and it's just not fair to do like a substandard job, which, well, you can do a nice job overhand. It's finally Friday. I actually could not be happier. This morning, I have been working down this very tight alleyway and persevering with it. I've also had a massive help from the client and pretty much their entire family getting out all of the bricks I'm going to be needing for next week. So whoever comes in to help me labour next week, at least we've got a big head start. Right, that is where we're going to be leaving it for this week. Today I've persevered blasting 12 courses down this side, 490 bricks laid on my own, which isn't too bad for saying it was a very tight alleyway. But I've just not really been in the mood today for talking. I just want to crack on. Next week we're going to have hopefully Drew back or another helper, so we're going to have to wait and see. You guys will figure out what's happening on Monday, just like I will. Next week I'm going to be heading down to London to do some interesting things. Hopefully I'll be able to get some filming done. But on that note, that's where we're going to be leaving it for this week, because I am shattered and I want to go to the pub. So I'll catch you guys next week. We are back on the job. Drew is finally back. Today, we are going to be sending up the rest of this wall. This is the setup we are going for. We've elevated all our bricks and blocks. Because Drew is a bit injured still, he's got to be taking it somewhat steady, so I'm going to be giving him a bit of a push. Right now, we're just going to get cracking on. I'll catch you in a bit. Wilson.
Oh, it's good to be back, mate. Good to be outside again. Pointing?
Yeah, good lad. He's not doing bad.
We're rusty, but we're getting there.
Very rusty. Yes, right, so we have finally finished this big long gable end. All we need to do is put on another 11 courses and then we'll be ready for the wall plate. 2,000 bricks in this wall, or just under, and it's been a very tight, awkward alleyway. But luckily we have wrapped up and now we're going to be starting some block work. We're going to be working just in between these steels, corner block to corner block, whamming this up, backing in this wall, because this is a big wall not to have backed in. Now, Drew just asked a question about the expansion joint. I vaguely went over it yesterday or a few days ago. Basically, it's here, Drew, just so when we have a massive span of brickwork like this, it's likely to have some movement. There could end up being cracks, especially because it's about 100 bricks long, okay? So if we put an expansion joint bang in the middle, if there was going to be any movement in this wall, all the movement's going to be directed to this. And that's why we have these slip ties and things like that in the wall to allow that movement to happen. And the foam, I don't really know why we have foam, but it's perfectly 10 mil, and I imagine it's because if the bricks were to expand and contract, foam allows that sort of movement. So on the face of the brickwork, you can clearly see we've got our expansion foam. Now we don't want to see that, so what we do, we recess it back into the brickwork by about 15, 20 mil, and then we just put a mastic joint straight down it so you won't see it. What a man, what a man, you wouldn't know you're half disabled. hit that. Look at my mark. And now that's come off. Oh God, it was better without you. You're meant to be helping. Look at it now, it's low. Oh, Drew!
We haven't swung a hammer in a while.
It's not swung a hammer, I'll bring a hammer at you in a bit. Taking just little snippets out of context. Oh God. There we go. That's where we are leaving it for today. Drew and I sent this block work up together, sent the brickwork and had a right good tidy up. It's very nice to have my main man Drew back helping me out. I forgot how handy it is actually having someone to help. Anyway, we'll catch you tomorrow morning when we're sending the rest of that block work up there. Yes, yes. Tuesday morning, just gone about 10 o'clock. So far, I've had Drew running around like a crazy fish, bringing all the sand, which is on the front, round to the back, so we're able to mix up. I've been sending up this block work, and I'm just setting out this bay window here up to 900, and that's where it drops off. Once we've set this block work up to almost wall plate height, we'll be dropping on the brickwork. Now, this long side in front of me has loads of just small pillars. We've got floor to ceiling windows, so there's got to be loads of light in this building. So lots of messing about, lots of level work, which I don't like, but we're going to blast it up in a little bit. But for now, that's some more block work. Yes, yes.
What are you putting in your wrap, Drew?
We'll get the whole pack. We'll get the whole pack.
Oh, Drew, that's so sorry.
This is the lunch of a healthy workforce. You know that.
Times are hard. Finished lunch. Drew had a right feast. We've wrapped up that wall. All we need to go on is a 150 split block and then the 75mm wall plate, and then we're going to be ready for the roof to go on. We've set a profile up down there, and we are just setting up a massive wrap back here. Now you can see here that we have our render stop bead, and you can see how it's set back a little bit. Now the render is slightly out of plumb and it's protruding on our brickwork, so I've had to pistol round. I've checked it with the level and it leans out of plumb ever so slightly, so by the time we actually get up to about here, I won't have to pistol my brick around for it to slot in. Bit of messing about here, but nothing too major and nothing we can't get over. Setting this corner up here, just all freehand. There is no point trying to attach a profile to this. You'll waste more time trying to set up a profile than just building a corner. What I've done, I'm just marking out my gauge ever so lightly on the render here. So it will wash off in time, so it doesn't matter too much, but it just saves me having to pick up my tape constantly checking gauge. So just a little tip, just to keep things on track and speed your corner building up a little bit. Before we get stuck in today, look at that trap end. That's lethal. I was saying yesterday how amazing it is that all these opportunities are coming my way. only because I just put myself out there one day and decided to start filming my bricklaying about 1.5 years ago. Yeah, very grateful and very fortunate. So opportunities like this don't often happen, but what I'm going to start doing now is just grabbing every opportunity that does come my way, because you never know where you'll end up. Some of you may have noticed that Drew isn't here once again today. He called me this morning just as I pulled up to his house to pick him up. He was throwing up down the toilet. This morning I've just got set up all down this long stretch. It's just loads and loads of pillars. So what I've done, and for those improvers and apprentices out there who are always struggling to find time, I spent 20 minutes this morning getting set up. I've put on my halves, I've put my ties out, I've done everything I need to do to get prepped for the entire day. So take note. Anyway, I'm going to get blasting, catch up in a bit. Just gone 2 o'clock. We've set up profiles on every single reveal. This just saves us that time it takes to plumb every one. Overall, it is going pretty well today. It's a bit of a struggle because obviously temperatures are getting up there now, because obviously we're coming into summer. These bricks are really dry and the compo is just constantly going off. So a bit of a struggle without Drew today, not having someone just constantly topping up my bricks and knocking up my compo. But like always, we do get there. So I'm going to get on these last 5 courses and see how we get on for the rest of the day. We've built all of those panels. What I decided to do in the end, as the wind calmed down, I sent up every panel to full height just on its own, rather than spreading myself really thin and loading out compo and bricks along these 3 panels and walking up and down this massive run. Just focused on one panel until it's fully built, quickly propped it, and then moved on to the next one. I would have done that earlier, but the wind was quite high and I don't want to risk a blowdown. Tomorrow we're going to be starting the bay and we're hopefully going to get round a majority of it, as long as I have some help. Hopefully Drew is here tomorrow, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, on that note, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Friday morning, guess who's back? Drew's back. Done 3 days this week, bless him. Today we're going to be setting out the bay. I've already gone over with Drew how I've labelled them and how I've numbered them. Every angle represents a different letter, so we have A, B, C, D, E and F, so on, so on. And then I've also labelled each one. Each number represents a course, so these are 1s, these are 2s, so it'll go 1, 1, 1, so on, so on. Today we're going to be really just focusing on getting this bay up. Tuesday I've got the scaffolders penciled in, so hopefully we'll have a lift, and then we've got 11 courses to go on. A 150mm cut on the blockwork inside to send us up to wall plate, and then dobbing on the wall plate. So in all fairness, not too long left on this job. However, I was having a chat with the client. Obviously, I think he's quite happy with all of our work. And because of that, we have a garden wall to build later on. So that's sound. But otherwise, I best start looking for some more work for doing I. fair on. He's good, isn't he? Something I was talking to Drew about earlier and something I noticed when he was laying away over there, when he was trying to get these bricks level, because they're laid frog up, you may notice that they are somewhat like bananas. So when you put your level on and you're trying to level it, you'll often find that it wants to rock a bit like a seesaw. So when we're leveling, let's say from over there to here, and it's level, and you've tapped it down, you might find that this side is actually significantly higher. So that's something you really need to bear in mind when you're laying these like rustic looking bricks and you're using a lot of level work.
No, I could not make that game.
Yes, there we go. So we have finally finished building our bay. Everything's nicely pointed up. For those of you wondering why I have frogged down this top course, I'm not going to tell you, but all I'm going to say is that we have a windowsill sitting on there, so you guys can figure that out yourself. That is pretty much our Friday wrapped up. I'm just going to use the last little bit of compo to build up this pillar, but yeah, that is pretty much it for this week. It's been quite a fun week. Obviously Drew has been back, so that's been really fun for myself, even though we had a day off. Drew's terrible at cooking. Someone needs to give him some cooking lessons, because that's the third time he's had food poisoning. So yes, and we also went down to London. I did my filming and little bits and bobs for Fix Radio. There will be a podcast coming out shortly, and I'll let everyone know when those dates are going to be. For now, Drew and I will catch you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Yes, yes.